Hi, everybody. My name is Chase Floyd, and I live in Charleston, South Carolina, with my fiance and our grumpy old dog, Hank. After this summer semester, I will only have one semester left in the program, so I'm looking forward to graduating in December of this year. For the past few years, I've been a fourth grade teacher at a school that I love so much, but since I'm really close to graduating, I've decided not to return in the fall, and I'm hoping to find a job in a public library. It would be my dream to be in a children's or young adult position, but I will be grateful for whatever position I land in. I chose this course because, as much as I love children and children's literature, I don't tend to think of myself as a good storyteller. I did read aloud with my fourth graders every day for the past few years, and they always love it and are so engaged, so I must be doing something right, but I know I have a long way to go, and I'm really hoping that this class will help me hone my skills. I think storytelling is such an important art form that can really make or break a child's interest and love for reading, so I want to do my best at it. And unfortunately, I tend to be a very straightforward person with a dry sense of humor, so it might take a lot of practice for me. As I mentioned earlier, my support system here in Charleston is my wonderful fiance, Zach, who works as an insurance agent downtown, and our old dog, Hank. Back home in Texas, I have my parents, my oldest sister, Summer, and my favorite person, my 3.5-year-old nephew, Roman. My middle sister, Casey, is actually in her second year backpacking Australia right now, and I miss her very much, but we keep in touch by sending each other book recommendations a lot. My main hobbies are reading and being outside in nature. I love to read absolutely anything I can get my hands on, so feel free to send me recommendations and I will get back to you on how I feel about them. Although there's not really great hiking areas in Charleston, it still is one of my favorite things to do, and I just try to get outside as much as possible, whether it's just a walk down the street or whether it's actually like going out and seeking a trail. There's just something about feeling the warm sun on your skin that's an unmatched feeling to me. I also love to bake. I make a mean homemade chocolate chip cookie, and I recently tried my hand at a Swiss roll cake. And then finally, I love crafting of all kinds. I've tried crocheting and cross stitching, and next, I really want to learn how to knit and how to sew. An interesting fact about me is that I recently got engaged. It was a really beautiful surprise with both of my sisters there and a surprise engagement party right after where my whole family was and my best friends and my fiance's family and his friends flew down as well. And I just felt very lucky to have someone who loves me as much as he does, and I can't wait to marry him soon. My story time is going to be about the time my sister and I accidentally crossed the border into Canada. So, for some background information, it was July of 2020, so middle of the pandemic, and my sister, the adventurous one who lives in Australia now, she had been staying with us back home in Texas since the pandemic started, because before that she was living in New York City for a few years, and there was just like a lot of craziness in New York, and she just wanted to be home with her family and feel much more safe because we didn't know what was going to happen. So we felt better if we were all together. So she came and stayed with us. Unfortunately, July was the month that her lease would be up and she would have to move out of her apartment. Obviously, there was no one around to hire to move all her stuff out because it's the middle of the pandemic and we couldn't fly there, or at least we didn't want to. And so my sister and I decided to drive the entire 24 hours from Texas to New York City to move her out of her old apartment and into her new one. We had a really great time on the trip and we did a lot of outdoorsy stuff with very few crowds, and we made it to New York State in about 3 days. Well, we decided that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity to see Niagara Falls, so we decided to make a detour. We get there, and obviously, most things are closed, but the falls are outdoors and available to tour. There were a few people around. So we're walking around, and we get to the first waterfall, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing, most beautiful thing ever. We keep walking, and we're able to get right up at the top of the next waterfall. You can feel the water droplets just like falling on your skin, and we're like, okay, this must be the real Niagara Falls. It's huge. It's an amazing wonder. Beautiful. Then we keep walking. And we actually make it to the giant horseshoe that is Niagara Falls. And at this point, our minds are completely blown because it just keeps getting better and better. So we spent some time there, really enjoying the view and everything. And as we're leaving, we decide to take the Rainbow Bridge attraction, where you can actually see the full waterfalls and the rainbow that it makes with the water vapor. We pull up to the entrance of the bridge on the American side. The person working waves us through, and at no point do they say, "Hey, do you know you're about to cross a national border?" Or, "Hey, make sure you have your passport ready." There's no signs that warn of this either, so we're just crossing the bridge, enjoying our time, and taking pictures. And this is like a highway type of bridge, so there's no way to actually turn around at any point. So inevitably, we get to the Canadian border, and the person asks for our passports, which we clearly don't have because we weren't planning on crossing the border. We tell them that, and they get very serious with us. They ask for our driver's license, ask us what we're doing here, shine like a light in our car to see like what's in there. All the legal stuff, a police officer directs us through the gates and into a parking spot in front of the like main building, and another officer comes out and asks us the same questions. They take our IDs inside. We wait about 10 minutes, nervous as all get out, because even though we weren't doing anything wrong, we were still illegally in another country, and we didn't know what that meant for us, especially in the time of the pandemic. So finally, the officers return with our licenses. They each give us a form to sign that basically says, "We'll stay out of Canada until we have our passports and the borders are actually open again." And they send us on our way. We make it to New York City and move my sister into her new apartment, where she parallel parks a U-Haul in the middle of Manhattan, and all is well. And we definitely laugh about it now, but it was nerve-wracking in the moment for sure. Thanks for listening to my ridiculous story, and I can't wait to hear everyone else's.